Well, hello, my dear friends. If you, like me, were lucky enough to go to the Park City UGC conference event yesterday, then you would have seen Sydney Mohni's awesome presentation and talking about portfolio. And I recently was doing my own portfolio and learning a lot of the same things. And then when she did her presentation, I just had this idea to put together a tutorial. I was working with some fabulous individuals doing a few different tech type things with Linktree, putting links together and different things like that. And so I just thought it would be really beneficial to put together something like this. So, just a little quick information about myself. My name's Caleb. I am a new UGC creator, but my background is in education. I was a Spanish teacher for several years. I coached cross country and track as well. I got into tech. I was a software trainer for a legal tech company for several years, and now I'm transitioning into UGC and content creation. So I've been doing a lot with Canva, and one of the things that Sydney said, and maybe you've seen it all already, if you were at the event, you heard it. If you were looking at some of the Instagram stories and things like that, Sydney continues to use Canva as her personal website and portfolio. So it works really great. And as someone like myself who has done stuff with WordPress, Wix, and Adobe Portfolio, I wish that I had done my video and photo portfolio inside of Canva as opposed to inside of Adobe. And I'll explain why, but got a bunch of links in the description, including the one of Sydney's um, portfolio itself. All I did to find Sydney's portfolio was I did a search for Sydney, and I couldn't remember her last name, so I just did Sydney UGC Coach Portfolio, and I was able to find her site. I will link that in the description as well. So sydneynicoleugc.my.canva.site. So, with that being said, let's talk about Canva and how we're going to make a duplicate, but of our own, of something similar to Sydney's UGC site. So, first, I've got Sydney's UGC portfolio over here on the left, and then I've got another browser window open over here on the right and kind of behind it, so we can kind of toggle back and forth between the two. I am doing my recording and everything. I have a MacBook, and so everything is being done on a Mac, which will be similar to a PC because we're doing most of the things on the browser. I'm also using Google Chrome as my browser, which shouldn't make a huge difference. But when we talk about screenshotting certain brands and their logos and things like that, there will be some differences. So you may have to do some additional work on your own so that you can figure out how to do things like screenshots and things like that, because I'm not necessarily going to go over all of those things. And I'm just going to make sure that this is recording. Yes, it is. All right. So, and we may have to do more than one part to this because knowing me, I'm going to get pretty thorough in my explanations, and maybe there might be a part two. So actually, for this part, in part one, let's go ahead and just kind of go through in a quick way how to do this. Feel free to pause this, rewind it, go back, and kind of figure it out. Figure it out. What I meant to say was follow along as we go. So, Something that you should also know is that I have Canva Pro. And one of the reasons I have Canva Pro is because Canva does a great job at removing the background on certain images. And that's been really helpful for a few different reasons. So that being said, let's jump in. We'll explain some things. You're welcome to follow along. You don't have to have Canva Pro, but it is helpful. And so my recommendation is that you kind of follow along, see what the limitations are if you are using the free version of Canva, and if you need and want to go into premium, it's I don't know how much it is, 10, 15, $20 a month. And maybe you just want to do it for a month so that you can make your portfolio or something like that. All right. So when you come into Canva, there's a couple things that you can do. But up top, we've got kind of this quick reference here, and you can click on website right here. On the very far left, you can also click on create because yours might look a little bit different because I'm showing mine on a bigger screen. I'm showing it on a second monitor, which is a little bit bigger. And then from here, you can take a look over here on the left-hand side and you can be like, okay, website. And it'll give you it'll let you select your own, or you can look at a template. But let's go ahead and just try to copy Sydney's. So I'm going to go ahead and click on website. And that's going to open this up. I mean, something good to do before I do any kind of publishing would be to come up to the top and click on the name of the project where it says Untitled Design Website. And I'm just going to click inside and I'm going to put something like Caleb's UGC Portfolio. And you could probably do your first and last name as well. But anyways, go ahead and put that in there. Great. Now, do we want to do the background first? Do we want to do it second? We're going to take a look and we're just going to kind of work from the top down and we'll start with the background. So Sydney's got this cherry theme going, which is awesome. For mine, what do I like? I don't know. Well, let's go over here to the far left and click on Elements. So over here on this left-hand side, we've got our different options. I'm going to click Elements, and because I'm a former teacher, my theme is going to be apples. I know. So cute. All right. So now I've got these options for graphics and photos, 3D, etc. I'm going to look at photos. And I actually really like this one. I grew up in Washington State, which is the Apple State. I don't know if I'm pretty sure it's not called that. So I'm going to click on that and it's going to come here. I'm going to go ahead and expand this and kind of move it. I'm going to grab the corners. I'm going to go ahead and just reach that over. It's kind of bright and distracting. So there's a couple things that we can do. One is if I wanted it to be just a little more faded, I can come up to the top and I can click on this little checkerboard thing. And it goes from kind of a light checker to a darker checker. And if I hover over the top of it, you can see that it says transparency. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And then I can kind of play around with this slider right here. I could say, great, yeah, that looks wonderful. You can see that Sydney's is a little bit darker, which I kind of like that darker look. So I am going to just shift this down a little bit. I'm going to click inside here and I'm going to make the background a darker color. Now, it could be black. It could be a darker blue. So, sorry. Sometimes I get excited and I get ahead of myself. So I'm going to click inside of this box, but I've moved my image down. You can see up at the top, it's going to give me some background color. So if I hover over the top of this little color wheel, I'm going to click on that. And then I'm going to be able to come over here to the left. Now, something really cool about Canva is it's taken a look at all of the different colors and it has pretty much created a color palette out of all of the different colors that are showing up, which is just so cool in my opinion. So we've got this dark brown, pastel orange, orange, dark red, and orange. I kind of like the idea of a dark brown. So I'm going to click that dark brown. And now it's going to color it. Because really what we're doing when we are working with this transparency is we're just making this image transparent. And so I can play around with this. Awesome. Now I've got this great apple background. Okay. Working our way down, top to bottom. Sydney Mohni, we got this. I'm going to put in my name. So I'm going to come over here to the left. I'm going to click on this T for text. If you hover over it, it'll give you those options as well. But I'm going to put in add a heading. I'm going to type my name in there. Caleb Scoville. I'm going to make it big. I'm going to put it up here. Perfect. Move that a little bit. Okay. So from here, let's go ahead and focus on the text to begin with. She's using a red text. Yeah, we could also do like here, let's go back to elements really quick. Let's stay with that Apple theme. Notice how when I come over here, it has the filter of photos. Well, if I wanted to go back, I could also grab some of these graphics. And yeah, I like this graphic right here. This apple right here. Perfect. I'm going to minimize that. And I'm going to put it right there. That cute little apple. Looks perfect. Okay. Wonderful. I actually want to do, well, actually, Sydney did all caps. You can do all caps. I trust that you know how to do all caps if you need to. I'm going to leave mine there, but I don't like Canva Sans. So I'm going to highlight all of that. On a Mac, that's Command A for selecting all within that text box. On a PC, I think it's Control A. So I'm going to click Canvas Sans. I really like Helvetica. It's one of those that is kind of like a recommended one for being easy to read, kind of like Times New Roman and some of those Arial, things like that. Helvetica Now. Love that. Okay. And look, looks beautiful. I could also do something fancy to it. Maybe we need to do this in a part two, but I'm going to click on that. I'm going to come up here to effects. And I'm going to give a little bit of depth to it. Again, I know this isn't, I'm getting outside of my range of copying, but awesome. That looks great. We will continue. UGC Creator and Creative Strategist. Okay, coming over to our text. Let's go ahead and add a subheading. UGC Creator. I'm going to keep mine simple because I'm not as decorated as Sydney Mohni, but I just put that in there. You can see when I am dragging this over, it gives me those little dotted lines. The top dotted lines say that it's in line with something up here. So this tells me that I'm in line with kind of that invisible text box that Caleb Scoville is inside of. If I move it down a little bit, that dotted line says that I'm in line with the Apple graphic that I put in there. So just depends on what you want to go for. It looks like Sydney's got hers a little bit closer. So let's kind of drag it over. And when I see that dotted line in the middle, you can see that that is now centered, which is great. Okay, that's looking great. I'm going to come back over and do, yeah, let's do a little bit of add a little bit of body text. Let's put that there. Um, there's a couple things that we can do here. Sydney's got that little location icon there. Let's talk about that in just a second. Let's go ahead. I'm in Saratoga Springs, Utah. So I'll go ahead and do that. Notice how it just automatically puts it on that next line. I'm going to drag this over. Something I wish that I had learned sooner is you can keep dragging this over as far as you need. But when it comes time to center this, you are going to want this to be as close as you can before it opens up a new line. Because then when you go to center it, it's going to center quite nicely. I'm going to come over to the left-hand side and click on Elements. And then I am going to type in location. And it gives me the option right here for location icon, location pen. Let's go ahead and do location pen or location pen icon. Awesome. Okay, this looks great. You'll notice that some of these are come with premium. So this little crown right here means that it's included in the Canva Pro plan. So that's something that you can do. The nice thing about using these graphics is that you can make them be consistent throughout the process, throughout your website. Um, a little trick is if you are like, you know what, I'm just going to do this on the cheap. You can come to a new tab and you can put in location, icon, pen. Oh, sure, and pink. That's fine too. But you can go into images and you could do a screenshot of this and then you could use that screenshot. It's not going to look quite as good, especially if you don't have background remover. But yeah, that's something you can do. So because I have Canva Pro, I'm able to use that. I'm going to go ahead and click on this. It's going to put it over there. It's black, and I want it to be white, so I'm going to come up to the top and click on this color. We're going to make that white. Now, I want this to be kind of connected to this. So I'm going to minimize this, kind of drag it over till I get a good spacing there. And looking over at Sydney's, that's looking pretty good. Yeah, that's looking really good, actually. Looking so good. Okay, so now that these are together, I don't want to have to keep moving this around all the time. Because, like, if I wanted to move this, then I'd have to move this because they're separate. There's not really a great way to put it all in one box. But what we can do, and let's say that I want it to go back to where I had it before. I can do on a Mac, I can do Command, hold down Command and do Z. That's going to be undo. Or I can do Control Z if I'm on a PC. Also, you have these controls up here at on the very top left, undo and redo. So this is just a shortcut. Okay, so this is how I had it. Looks really great. I'm just going to click and I'm going to start dragging. Well, notice how we've got this image that's behind us that gets dragged. What I'm going to do to make things just easier for us right now is I'm going to delete that Apple background and I'm going to add it in later. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to click and drag and I'm going to drag over. See how that highlights those two items. Now I'm going to group this. Because I've grouped it, it's now its own piece. And when I bring it up, we're going to be able to center it. Now, as I come down, as I come up, sometimes it'll give me a nice little measurement, but it's not going to do it. So I kind of have to eyeball this. Sometimes it'll give me like a number in between to let me know that I've spaced it right. But that's looking good. I'm feeling pretty good about that. Okay, Sydney's on TikTok, Instagram, and she's got an email icon. So let's go ahead and do that. TikTok, TikTok, TikTok icon. Wonderful. Okay, cool. I like that. Let's go ahead and do the box. I'm going to put that here. I'm going to make it a smaller size. And you know what? For now, I'm going to put it over here until I'm done sizing it, just to get it away from everything. Sydney's got it with the white background, clear on the inside. So I'm going to click on this, and you can see up top, I've got these different colors here. So let's play around with this. We want white as our color there. And then for our turquoise, let's try black and just see what happens there. Let's go red. Let's go black on that as well. And let's click on this white and go black. Cool. We could actually go back to this and do white. Okay, that looks a little bit better. Let's go back to this black and also do white. Nope, that looks a little bit better. Okay, now what if I want, Sydney's got her corners rounded. So this one has kind of the sharp corners, which actually I kind of like. But if you wanted to round the corners, you could go click on that, come up to your tools up top. And if you hover over this little round thing, it says corner rounding. I'm gonna click on that. And then I'm just gonna round those corners. Let's do like 15. 15 looks good. Awesome. Sydney's probably got hers at like a 10 or something like that. So let's probably go back to like a 10 or something like that. Perfect. Wonderful. Yeah, looks pretty good. Okay, let's do our Instagram icon. Oh, that's in the colors. We got to go over to the far left and click on our elements again. Let's go Instagram. Perfect. Okay. Black again. Okay, we're going to do the same thing, but first let's resize this. And let's make it the same size as our TikTok icon. Okay, notice as I'm coming over, I get those dotted lines. Great, that's what I want. And if I want to make it the same size, I'm going to grab the corner up top and bring it down until I see the dotted lines above it. Looking good. Okay, but now I want this to be white. So I'm going to come up here to the black, click on the color, white. Perfect. And the corners are already rounded, so that's great. And then I want an email icon. So I'm going to come up over to the very far left, click on elements. I'm going to say email icon or logo or something like that what Sydney's got. Okay. Let's see if we can get something similar. Yeah, and we can kind of do whatever we want, but if we wanted, yeah, this is the one right here. Or maybe it's this one. Close enough for us right now. Let's do the same thing. You're going to, okay, notice this. You ready for this? I get it to where it's the same on the bottom, right? I'm dragging it over, and then it gives me a 19. It's because it's like 19, whatever the measurement is, pixels. I don't know. And now it's lined up at the bottom. Perfect. Now all I have to do is drag that down. Perfect. And it looks like this one isn't going to, I don't know. Let's try with the colors. Black? Nope. White? It's not, looks like it's not giving me a lot of color options, but that's okay because that's what we got going on. So that's looking pretty good. What I recommend now, in order to keep the consistency across here and not have to drag a bunch of things over one by one, is doing what we did with our location in the pen. So I'm going to drag over, highlight all three of these, and then I'm going to click group. Perfect. I'm going to drag that over, and I am going to center. Notice how when I'm doing this, drag it up, 15. So it's telling me that I've got equal spacing in between these items. So that looks great. But now if I want to link these, because notice when I come over here and I click on this TikTok logo, it's going to take me to Sydney's TikTok. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to come back over to my Canva and I'm going to ungroup this. Okay. Now I'm going to click on this, and I can either click on this ellipsis, which you can call this whatever you want, ellipsis, the menu. If I click on that, I get a bunch of options, including link. So I'm going to go ahead and link that. So you're going to need to know what your TikTok URL is. And if you don't have one yet, well, create a TikTok and get that URL. Maybe I'll do a TikTok tutorial. That's a wonderful alliteration. But for our purposes right now, let's just use Sydney's. I'm going to take her URL, copy that. I'm going to pop that in. Say done. Great. Done. Let's do the same thing with our Instagram. So again, we're putting our Instagram in there. I could be doing this with my own, but it's just easier to grab Sydney's right now. So I'm going to grab that. Perfect. Let's go ahead and click on our ellipsis menu right here. I'm going to come down here and click link. I'm going to paste that in. It's interesting because you have to click done and then done. I don't know why. Anyways, what you can do with this email icon is you can actually click on your menu right here, come down to link, and you can just type in your email. So for example, my email, okay, let's go creates. I know it's not Sydney's email, but we're just going with this. calebscocreates@gmail.com. It is going to recognize this when I click outside as an email address, and it's going to say mail to : and then the email address, which is great. So I'm going to click done. Perfect. And then if I want to, which I think it's probably a good idea, let's group these again. Wonderful. Okay, and I'm going to pause this recording for just a second. Okay, so coming back in, let's go back to Sydney's page. Okay, so we've got this cell phone, and when we click on this cell phone,
for a UGC creator that knows how to deliver.
We've got her intro video. Okay, so something that we can do is we can put in a type of image video player type thing. So what I'm going to do is I am going to come up here over to the left and click on elements, search elements, and I'm going to do video. I'm going to type in video. It might give you some options. I've been doing this, and so it gives me video player. I'm just going to go ahead and do video player. So that's what I would do if I were you, video player. Now, down here where it has frames, let's go ahead and click see all. You can choose from some of these different frames, but the one that Sydney's doing, I don't know, but we will go ahead and select this one. Great. Okay. Actually, I don't think that's the right one. Let's try this one. There's another one. There's one where I can actually control the different colors that are in there. No, not that one. Let's just take a quick look and see. Got one on my portfolio. It's a little bit different. Okay, let's come back up here. Oh, let's go see all. What one did I use? This is the one that I used. Okay, this one, let's actually try, instead of video player. Let's go ahead and try phone frame. Phone frame. Okay, let's go ahead and do see all. Yes, and this is the one right here. That's the one. The reason why I wanted to find this one is because take a look at this phone. Let's go ahead and zoom in on this. Notice that we've got the buttons on the side, we've got the borders, all of that. If I click on this phone, up top you can see I have control over all of these things, which you may not need something that's so, you may not need so much control over all of that. But if you want to get fancy, which I like to do now and then, go ahead and click on that. And so we can kind of mess around with this a little bit. Great, let's do white. Yeah, I like the white. I like that. Let's do the next order right here. Let's go ahead and do like a black. And now you can kind of start seeing as you're playing around with that. Okay, now that's that little dot right there. So much control. It is ridiculous. I've got blue, but I've got a blue power button. I've got orange, an orange top button, got a yellow bottom button. I mean, whatever you want to do. So anyways, you can see it's a little bit different than Sydney's, but just wanted to highlight some of those things. Okay, let's make it a similar size to hers. And she's got the first letter of her name is kind of going partially over that, which gives it a little bit of depth. It's kind of artistic. It's pretty great. I like it. So that's great. If for some reason the name was underneath the phone, there's something that we could do where we click on that image and we come up to our menu and we drop down into layer. And then we have control over whether it's behind something or in front of something. So you can kind of play around with that. I'm realizing that there's a reason why Sydney's phone is black. It's because it doesn't conflict with the colors of the name. So I'm going to go ahead and turn mine. I'm going to make it into black, or you know what? I want to be my own person. I want to make it dark, but let's go ahead and do a deep blue. Yeah, I like that. Do it however you want. Okay, so now maybe we do, yeah, I don't think we necessarily need to spend a lot of time on this, but let's go ahead and do our blurb, as she calls it. And let's go ahead and zoom out a little bit. I'm gonna come over to the left, click on text. I will be right back to putting that video in there. I should have done this first, but I just wasn't thinking. I guess I was getting excited. Um, you, let's do male UGC creator, single dad, ultra marathoner, photographer, uh, videographer, tech trainer, teacher, coach, whatever you want to put in there. But yeah, that looks great. Maybe let's make it a little bit smaller and we'll center it. And if we bring it up a little bit, ooh, now we get 15s right there. So it's looking good. Actually, Sydney's got a little bit more space. So let's control that a little bit. Wonderful. Looks great. You can be more perfectionist than I am. Okay, so now coming back over, let's do the arrow with hit play before we put the video in there. So let's go ahead and come up over to the left and click on elements. Let's go ahead and do arrow. And now you can see we've got these graphics right here, and I can see this is probably the one that she used. I'm gonna click on this black arrow. And before I do anything else with it, I'm actually gonna change the color so that I can see it a little bit better. So it's black, let's make it white. So up top, I've got that color. I click on that, gives me my color palette over here. I click on white and make that a little bit smaller. Yeah, that looks great. I'm gonna bring it over here. Then I'm gonna click on this little circle that has these little arrows in here. I am going to kind of do the same thing here. Boom, bam. And then I'm going to click on my text. I'm gonna do add a subheading. I'm gonna say hit play or else. Just kidding, I'm not gonna say or else. Okay, so she's got her spacing is a little bit different than mine. So what I can do with this is if this looks fine, right? But if I did want the letters to be a little bit closer together, I'm going to click on this. And then I'm going to come up top and I've got this little T with these arrows right here, advanced settings. Cool. Letter spacing, line spacing. We're going to do letter spacing. We're going to make it more narrow. I'm going to drag, drag, drag. There we go. Hit play. She's got a little different font. Not sure what that font is. There's a way that I could figure it out. I'm not going to do that right now. Wonderful. All right. Well, we're looking pretty good. How do we get a video in there? Well, if you've got a video on your desktop, which I do, I've got an amazing one. So I'm going to grab one from my desktop and I am going to drag and drop. I'm going to drag that from my desktop or from a folder. I'm just going to drop it right in. Notice how it kind of shows up over here on the right. Well, that's because basically it needs to upload before we put it into anything else. This blue is actually bothering me, so let's click on that. While it's uploading, let's take care of that color. Let's just make it black. Wonderful. Okay, it's uploaded now. And then I can just drag it, put it in there. Which that was not, oh, there we go. Sometimes it takes a minute. For a second, I was like, what is going on? All right, so this is looking good. Now, something that I didn't quite get because when I was doing my portfolio, I had a bunch of these videos and they were all playing at the same time automatically when you loaded the website. And I was like, I do not want that. So what I did is I figured out what was going on here. If you click on this item, you can see everything is kind of connected to each other now. I'm going to come up to the top and I'm going to click edit right here. It's going to give me some options here, but what we want is we want the playback settings. By default, it plays it automatically. I don't want it to play automatically. I want it to play when you click play, because if you've got a bunch of them, great. And what if their volume is down and it plays automatically or something like that? You want to be a little bit more intentional, right? So that looks great. Let's close out of that. Okay, let's take a look. This looks great. Let's say that I want my apples back. I could go back into my elements that I could take a look, but I'm actually not going to bring my apples back for a little bit. Now, I am not sure what what Sydney's got going on here, but if we come here, we've got this line with the previous clients. So we could put it right down here, but we could also add a section. And that's just going to make it so that we've got more space, people can scroll. And I'm just going to put it at the top of this new section. That's just how I'm deciding to do it. It's very possible that she did it in a little different way than this, but it makes sense and we're going to test it and see how it works. Search elements. I'm just going to start typing in line. Perfect. We've got a shape and we've also got a graphic. I'm going to do a graphic and see how that goes. Okay. So it looks like we've got like a white inside of a black. I'm going to click on that. Let's come over here and just do white. And maybe that'll work. We could do a couple other tests and look at some of the other lines. So if I do that line, oh, it's a different kind of line. Oh, and it's a pro feature. Let's look at the shapes. Okay, let's just grab this shape. That's a line. That works great. Let's get rid of this graphic. Okay, let's do white. Perfect. And kind of starts in the middle of hit play. This lets us know we're at the top of this page right here. I'm going to bring it down just a little bit, just because I want to. We're going to drag this over. We're going to keep it at 0 degrees. Perfect. Now let's go ahead and add some text in. Wonderful. I'm going to put in previous clients. Great. I want something fancy, like Sydney. I'm going to actually condense for right now. Let's find something fancy, then we will resize our little box. Canvas Sans. Let's go try calligraphy or open sans. Great. Let's try calligraphy. Calligraphy. I like that. Ooh, Lucida calligraphy. Previous clients. That looks great. Again, I'm not exactly sure what Sydney used, but we've got some really great options, and you can make it look just like you want. Because we're towards the top of this new page, let's bring this down a little bit. We'll line that up. We can also make it a little bit bigger. Oh yeah, looking so good. If we drag this over a little bit, that'll let us see. Or we could zoom out or zoom in. I'm just pinching. I'm on a trackpad, so I'm just kind of pinching. You can also come down to the very bottom and use the slider down here to kind of zoom in, zoom out. Previous clients, that looks amazing. I love that. Okay. So maybe you don't have previous clients because if you're watching this, it's very possible that you don't have any previous clients. You haven't had any clients. You've just created kind of some of these um, mock videos or videos for people that haven't necessarily, or companies that haven't been your clients, but you've done their products or something like that. So what I am going to do is let's just pretend. I probably wouldn't, if I were you, I probably wouldn't put previous clients and then put the ones that I did unless they were actual clients of mine. But let's go ahead and just do, actually, I do have two clients. One of my clients actually did both for trade. I haven't gotten paid yet, but I did do like work for them. One was Uncle Bob's Butter Country. Uncle Bob's Butter Country buttermilk syrup. And we can look at images, for example. Okay, let's go ahead and do Uncle Bob's Butter Country logo. Okay, well, that's looking great. Let's go ahead and click on that. Now, because I am on a Mac, I have an option to do a screenshot. You can see that whatever this original um, file was, if you make it bigger like this, it's going to get pixelated. So sometimes I'll just screenshot right onto the small thumbnail right here. And I'm going to go on a Mac, I go Command Control Shift 4. So on a Mac, again, that's Command. I hold down Command, and I hold down Control, and I hold down Shift, and then I hit 4, and I let go, and it gives me these crosshairs. and I can actually put a box over. I know you can do something similar on a PC. I just don't know what it is. Perfect. So I'm going to do that. And that copies it to my clipboard. When I come over here, I can click Command V or paste. And I'm going to make this small. Now, something, if I want, I could have little boxes if I wanted to, but if I want little circles, something that I can do, let's go ahead and zoom in a little bit so we don't have to make it bigger, is I'm going to come over here to the left and do elements. And then I'm going to do a circle. And I'm going to do a shape. I'm going to click on this circle shape. Now, depending on a few things, this may be easier or maybe harder, but what you can do is you can click on this circle and then you can come up and you can edit the color. And it might give you some options over here on the left, but if you're wanting to match this color, you may have to get, what do they call it? A extension. So on Chrome, for example, they're called Chrome extensions. And I have one called the Color Picker for Chrome. So maybe I need to do another tutorial on how to do an extension. Okay, so the reason why I'm cutting in right now is because in the original tutorial that I was filming last night, I told you that I wasn't going to do the color picker, and part of that was because I didn't know how much time I had left, because I'm using Zoom as my screen share recorder. Um, and I don't have premium or professional, and so it only gives me a little bit of time. Anyways, that being said, I also thought about another way to do this. So let's go over a couple different options. Let's use Blue Apron. So right here on Sydney's portfolio, we've got Blue Apron. Let's use that as an example. All right, so I've got these examples here. Let's do kind of the first way that I was showing you before, which actually might be kind of the harder way, but it also works and it's really good to know how it works. So let's do this again. Blue Apron. Blue Apron logo. Perfect. Let's go to our images. Okay, so one that's standing out to me is this one right here. The white one could be good because it would be less work, but let's go ahead and do our screenshot. Again, on a Mac, Command Control Shift 4 is the way that I like to do it. But yeah, let's go ahead and do that. It doesn't need to be perfect. Let's go back to here. I'm gonna paste this in, make it a little bit smaller. And then let's go ahead and get our blue circle. So we're going to go into elements. There's our circle right there because we used it recently. Perfect. Okay. So now we want the background to be the same. We want this to all kind of mesh together. So what we're going to do is we're going to get an extension called the Color Picker extension. So I'm going to come up to the top and there's this little puzzle piece right here. Now, if you're not on Google Chrome, I'm actually not exactly sure how this will work. So this might be a little bit more specific to Google Chrome. I know that a lot of browsers will have similar extensions, and I bet that if you're on Safari or Firefox or Edge or something like that, you'll be able to figure that out as well. I just don't know how to do it because I use Chrome specifically and exclusively. So I'm going to click on extensions, and then I'm going to come down to manage extensions. And then over on the left-hand side, I'm going to click on Chrome Web Store. And now I'm going to start typing in color picker. Now you've got a few different options here. The one that actually, I'm just going to say color picker, then I'm going to click enter. The one that I've been using is this one. So, oh yeah, and it's the one that shows up. Perfect. So that's the one that I've been using. And then it says for me already that up in the top right it says installed, but for you, you'll just click on that. And then I think it'll say something like install for Chrome or something like that. So you'll install it. And then here's a couple tips for you. Once you've installed it, in order to access it, you're going to have to click on your little puzzle piece extensions up here in the top right. You're going to come down to manage extensions. And then I've actually got mine all set up. Actually, you may be able to do it in a little bit easier way. So click on that puzzle piece again. Oh, yeah, actually, this is a good one. So I've got Adobe Acrobat PDF editor. Notice how it's got kind of that. It's if I hover over the little push pen, it says pen. Over some of these other extensions, it's got it's filled in with blue and it's got a slash through it. These have all been pinned. Now, what that means is if you look at your kind of extension bar right up above, I show everything except my Adobe. So if I want my Adobe Acrobat to show up, I'm going to pin that. And now you can see that it shows up in that bar. So I would do that if I were you with Color Picker, unless you're like, I'm not going to use it very often. That's fine. If you're not going to use it very often, don't pin it. You'll still be able to use it. It'll just be hidden in this little extension bar. Okay, so now we're going to go back. Now that we've got that extension loaded, I want this Blue Apron background blue, which I don't know, is that a true blue, uh, Admiral blue, Cobalt blue? I don't know if it's Cobalt, but anyways, who even knows? We don't know. We don't know unless you're like a really great color palette person. Um, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that color picker. I'm going to click on it, and then I'm going to click on pick color. And now it's going to, as I hover over these colors, um, so see that black dot? That's right there kind of in the middle as I'm going. Perfect. Well, it's hovering over that blue, and I'm going to click on that. It's going to give me two codes. We've got kind of this hashtag code, and we've got this RGB code. I just default to the number hashtag code right here, and I'm going to click on these little boxes, copy that to my clipboard. Yeah, usually should copy it automatically to your clipboard, but sometimes you may need to do on a Mac Command C, on a PC Control C, and that'll copy it. Looks great. Wonderful. Thank you, color picker. I'm going to click on my circle, which I already did. Come up to the top, click on the little color right here. And then over on the far left, we've got this little circle and it says add new color. I'm going to click on that. And then down here, we've got that code. It's already automatically highlighted. And all I need to do now is paste it in there. So I'm going to do Command V as in Victor, paste that in. And there we go. Easy peasy. Lemon squeezy. All right. Now I put it over there because the we put Blue Apron in first and then the circle. It's the Blue Apron is going to be underneath, but we have that Blue Apron logo currently selected. So if I have it selected, I'm going to click on my ellipsis right here. Click. I'm going to come down and I am going to click on layer right here, bring to front or bring forward. Looking great. Look at that. It's like it's not even two things. I'm going to draw a box over those. I'm going to group that together. And then I'm going to pull that down. I'm going to bring that over. Perfect. we go. Everything seems to be lined up. Okay, there we go. And then I can pull it over. You can see that again, we've got 24 in between, so that means we've got equal spacing in between those. Looks amazing. It's like I'm a professional, but I'm not a professional. I am a professional. Fake it till you make it. Fake it till you make it. All right. So now that we've got that in there, another option could be, actually, I think that is kind of the best option. If you have a solid background, like we currently have, um, then you could basically put in like, yeah, let's say we've got this background, right? We're not going to put any kind of image in our background. If that's the case, we could put in our circle right here. Perfect. And what we could do is we could make our circle a little bit bigger. We could give it a border, stroke style. Perfect. Let's make that border a little bit bigger like this. Let's use Blue Apron again because we already have it. Oh, just kidding, we don't. Let's do that Blue Apron again. We'll make it close like that. Excuse me. Actually, I want to make it a little bit bigger. Command Control to the floor. Da, 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 da. I'm going to make that a little bit bigger, and I'll show you why. Perfect. Okay, so now that I've got this here, let's go ahead and use this. Now, if I didn't make that as big as I needed to, I can actually extend that color that up a little bit, but it also enlarges it. I think this actually is not the best way now that we're looking at it. But now that I have that, what I can do is grab my circle. I've got this black border, which we're going to change. Well, let's make the inside of this transparent. So we're going to take our blue color and we're going to make it no color. Okay. And then I'll go ahead and hover over the top. Might be nice to, yeah, actually, what I'm going to want to do is move Blue Apron. I'm going to layer, I'm going to send it backward. Great. And now I've already selected Blue Apron. Let's go ahead and kind of center it. Could make it a little bit smaller. We want to make sure that there's no white spacing. Now with Blue Apron, I am going to click on the corner rounding, and I'm going to round those corners until it kind of disappears. And now I'm going to click on my circle, and I'm going to match the border of that circle with my background. So it should save that right there. We've got that dark brown. Perfect. And there it is. I don't think it looks quite as, whoops. Control Z, perfect. I'm going to put these together, group that. Doesn't look quite as good. So I think actually the way that I did it is the best. But if you're relative sort of savvy on how to use this, you can click on this little puzzle piece right here for extensions. And you can come down here to manage extensions. And then you can do a search for color picker or over my extensions. Oh, Chrome Web Store. And then you can find a different extension and install it. That isn't part of this training, so I'm not going to do it right now. But we can go ahead and click on our color picker right here. Pick color. And now I'm going to hover over this blue. It's going to give me a code. I'm going to copy that code. Copy it. I might have to actually click copy. Now I'm going to come back to my circle right here. Blue over to my add new color over here on the left. And I'm going to paste that in. Isn't that fun? All right. And I'm going to drag this over. Ooh, notice how it's behind that. I don't want that. So I'm actually going to click on my ellipsis right here. I'm going to go to layer and I'm going to say bring that to the front or bring forward. Wonderful. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. And then I'm going to center it. That looks amazing. Then I'm going to select all of this. I'm going to group it. Now it is as if it were one thing. Perfect. I'm going to put that here. Wonderful. And now I did another trade job, gifted job for muscle egg. Muscle egg logo. Perfect. Oh, I like this one. Let's go to images and see if we can get a better one of that. Great. So I'm just going to do my screenshot again. I'm going to drag that over. It's looking good. I think I got some black in there, so we may have to kind of cut that out, but awesome, I did that. Let's paste that in. Oh, yeah, there is a little bit of black in there. Okay, so let's go ahead and minimize that. Great, let's do another circle. Let's make the circle white. And let's bring this to the front. And let's go ahead and make it a little bit bigger. Okay, now let's center that. Wonderful. Oh, and it's giving me some interesting measurements because we are actually in the middle of the page. So I'm going to move this a little bit over here to get a more accurate. There we go. There we go. So those dotted lines means now I'm in the middle and centered inside of this circle. Oh, great. I'm good with that. Collapse that. Oh, and I want to group that. And now if I, ooh, okay. So I need to make it a little bit smaller. There we go. So that it's now in the same level as Uncle Bob's Butter Country Syrup. Wonderful. So now I can keep doing that. Okay, we're doing so good, guys. All right, coming down, previous clients. Okay, we've got our screenshots. So from what it looks like with Sydney, she just screenshot this right out of emails and DMs and things like that. So we're just going to take hers as our example. So if this came out of an email or something like that, we can literally do a screenshot or snippet or something like that. And for Mac, again, Command Control Shift 4. On a PC, you'll probably have to look it up if you don't know. So I'm going to go ahead and grab that. I'm going to come over to mine, paste that in. Wonderful. And if you don't have any of these yet, which I don't have any of these yet, then don't worry about putting them in there. But this is just kind of showing you how you can do it. Wonderful. Looking so good. All right. Coming down, coming down. Okay. So again, depending on how much you've got and what's going on, you may want to put another page in there. Oh, and you can see that she's got kind of that break between those images right there. Okay. Zoom out. So I could do a couple things, but I'm just going to add a section. I'm going to make it clean. I'm going to click on that line, and I want it to be consistent. And then I'm going to click on this little plus right here and duplicate this. I'm going to bring that down. And something that I could do is I could kind of, as you can see, I'm kind of like lining it up with those dotted lines right there, connecting to it. And then I'm just going to kind of drag it down. Okay, now we're there. Drop it. Looking good, okay? And then she's got UGC, so we'll use the same font right here. I'm just going to copy that. I'm just going to duplicate that. I'm going to bring hat down. I'm going to double click inside, go UGC. And you know what? I'll keep it there. Let's go ahead and center that with our line. Wonderful. Okay, now what Sydney's got going on here is in that first one, she had kind of this cell phone type look. If you wanted to have the cell phones over and over again, you could do that. But if we're trying to be like Sydney here, which we are, I mean, we could never be Sydney, but if we're trying to duplicate, copy her portfolio here, great. So what I am going to do is, what would we want to do first? Let's do the text first. So I'll go ahead and do the text. We're wanting to do a B-roll with voiceover. Great. B-roll with voiceover. I'm going to put that. It's giving me kind of this little box here, which is kind of nice. I'm going to roll with that. I'm going to B-roll with that. Okay. I'm going to put that down. Great. Let's make sure we're in that box. Want a little bit of space between that line. Great. And I'm going to duplicate that. We're going to go. I'm going to make this a little bit smaller. I'm going to put it right here. Awesome. It's looking pretty good. Looking similar. Not exactly the same, but you can make it look the same if you want. Something that we can do if we're wanting to do this over and over again, we're wanting to look at spacing. Probably what I would do first though is I would put that in, and then I would come over and grab one of these video frames. So I'm going to come over to Elements, and I'm going to type in video frame. Part of it is just knowing the lingo of Canva, but I'm just going to do video frame. I'm going to put that in there. Got our frames. See all. And then let's look for kind of that. That kind of looks like it. But let's do, we could even try something like 16 by 9. And that didn't necessarily help us. So we'll do video frame again. Okay. I mean, part of this is gonna be you just kind of figuring out what you like and what you want to see as yours. But let's go and try that. Oh, we've got something going on in that top right. I'm not exactly sure what they're doing there, but and something cool. I mean, stylize it, make it yours, right? We've got this little almost kind of like a photo. If you wanted to, you could put this inside of this or something like that, right? Anyways, let's see if we can even do it with this. I think we can. So with any of these, we should be able to do both an image, like a photo, or a video. So the same thing, I'm just going to drag and drop, put it in there. Another way to do it, and I should have shown you this before, but I'm going to click Uploads over here on the left. Okay. And now these are where all of my uploads are. And I can also look at my videos. Well, I need a new video. So, but maybe it's not on my desktop and I don't know where it is in my in a folder that I can open or something like that. So I'm going to click on Upload Files. And that's going to open what I have here in my computer. I'm going to click on Desktop. And I'm going to call, oh, right here, Small Rig Light 2.0. I'm going to double click on that or single click and then upload. Now it's uploading. Once it's done, I am going to click on that video. It's going to show up over here. And then I'm going to drag it and put it right in here. So that'll just take a second. One of the nice things too about Canva Pro is it gives you a good amount of space to work with the videos. If you have limited space, then you may have to do some editing. Let me show you that. So we've got that here. Great. Now, what in the... So go ahead and click on that. And then I'm just going to drag that and put it in there. Okay. Let's say that you don't have Canva Pro and you don't, I think it limits the amount of space that you can do. So probably can't have like tons of videos. And as you can see, Sydney, she's got a lot of her videos on here, but she's done thousands of videos, right? She doesn't have thousands of videos here. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on that video. We're going to come up and we're going to trim that. What in the world? And we can come up, we can come here and we can say, you know what? They only really need to see the first 20 seconds. The beginning is good. We want them to see the hook. But they only need to see the first 20 seconds or something. Great. Done. Edit that. Looks great. If it's giving you some issues with spacing, you may just have to edit your video before you upload it and do 20 seconds instead of 55 seconds or whatever. Okay, let's edit this and let's make it so that it doesn't play automatically. Okay, now we want to have 5 across. Great. Let's go ahead and highlight all of this. Now, I could group this together, but I also don't have to group it together as long as I keep it all highlighted. I'm going to click duplicate. Boom. Now I've got that. Oh, and we've got a different kind of like thumbnail type thing going on here. This is from the same video. Let's go ahead and do that again. Before we do anything else with our videos. Oop, and I'm running out of space. Maybe I just want to do 4. That's great. What if I wanted to make it a little bit smaller? Well, if I don't want to have to go back, delete all of these and start over again, I can actually drag and make a box over all of this. Now I can minimize all of this at the same time. I know, isn't that amazing? Okay, great. Let's go ahead and just grab one of these, duplicate it, put it over here. Ooh, we've got 28. Spacing, ooh, I love that. I love that. All right, let's go like this. Let's go ahead and take it. And we have now centered that. That looks so good. All right, now we're going to come in. We're going to say, all right, testimonial, skincare, product, and she's got product demo, but we've got space. So we're just going to do product demo there, home, where she got educational AI app, and so on. You guys can figure that out if you've gotten this far. But we do need to replace these videos. So I'm just going to click one time there. The interesting thing about these frames is if you click on the frame and then you click delete, the first thing it'll do is it'll delete the video or the image that's in there, but not the entire thing. So if you've already uploaded some videos, great, you can drag them over. If you haven't, you'll have to upload them and then drag them over. But let's use this one.
So recently I stopped wearing.
Okay, and then you'd have to go in. I don't think it saves the same settings. Nope. So it's going to play automatically unless I turn that off. Great. Boom, boom, boom. I'm going to put those in there. Looking so good. And then if I have a lot more examples, a lot more of these, great. I can do that. I'm going to duplicate this. So just like I did the others, I can do it with this. Let's go ahead and add a section. Let's put it into this new section here or something like that. Yeah, that looks great. That looks amazing, actually. Okay, So let's keep coming down. Work with me. She's got this button that says work with me, and it takes you to kind of like a form to fill out to her email. Well, you could just kind of do the same thing where if you don't have a form for them to fill out, um, you could just put your email in there. But let's go ahead and create a button. I'm going to come over to my elements. I'm going to if I want to do a custom button, I could do like a circle like we did before. Perfect. And then we can kind of manipulate this circle, make it a little bit wider like that. Or it could be a box. Actually, let's actually try a box. And we're going to round the corners on our box. Okay. Shapes. Our box. Oh, sorry, not box. Square. Semantics. All right. Oh, and we've got a rounded corner one. Let's go ahead and put that in there. Great. And let's just say work with me. Let's go ahead and make that bigger. Let's go with Helvetica if we can get back to it. Perfect. And then we can make it bigger. We want to 13. Let's double that to 24. Great. I'm going to that. Yeah, that's looking good. Okay. Now I want a border on that. Maybe I want to make it transparent. Okay. So what I'm going to do here, so I'm going to click on this. Now I'm going to come up and it's got this stroke style. Let's see what this does. Oh, yes. Okay. You may not be able to see it very well, but that stroke is the kind of the border. And so it's black. Let's make it white. Perfect. Let's click on the side here. We've got our text, which is black. How do we edit? You know what? We might want to just delete. If we want a different color, oh, here it is. Text color. So I'm going to click on that text color. White. Oh, sometimes I also have to highlight all of the letters. Sometimes it makes you do it. Sometimes it doesn't make you do it. Click on that. Great. Work with me. Perfect. Okay. I don't love that color. Actually, I want that to be like a transparent background. So I'll click on that. Up top, I've got kind of that dark salmon color. Click on that. What do they call it? Oh, they call it red. That is not red. What is this? That's orange. What's this? Bright red. Okay. Whatever. Rose. I am going to click on this little no color. It's going to make it transparent. And why don't we stretch that out a little bit? Why don't we make that a little bit bigger? Perfect. Let's center that. Wonderful. And now I'm going to click on that shape. I'm going to click on that ellipsis. I'm going to say, great, let's link it. And then you can put in, if you've got a form, put a link to that form, URL to that form. If you've got your email, but Skill creates, and sometimes it'll hold on to some links and sometimes it won't, but at gmail.com, enter mail, done. And if you don't want it underlined, I don't know what to tell you, but well, we can talk about that later. Case studies. At this point, I'm hoping that you're kind of seeing how we are going to continue doing this. Everything from here on out that I'm seeing is something that we've already done. Lines, text, screenshots, videos, logos inside of circles, and so on. Let's just kind of take a look. Okay, down at the bottom, we've got that image. There's a few things that you can do with images. So let's go ahead and do, yeah, let's say that we're doing a photo instead of a video. Well, we can use frames. So we could just take a look and say, all right, I just want to look at frames. So if you want a photo frame, for example, great. You can look at these different frames or these mock-ups right here. You could also just say, you know what? I just want to put my image straight in there. It's kind of what Sydney has done. So let's go to my uploads. Let's go to my images. And I've cut this gorgeous little handsome face here. Great. Now, this is a reason why you might want Canva Pro. And this also helps when we're looking at um, like a logo, like muscle egg, for example. Let's do that muscle egg again. Dun, dun, dun. Perfect. Um, you know what? Let's do this is probably better right here. I don't want that. There we go. Let's do that. Okay. So let me give you some examples. We've got this logo, we've got this handsome face. Perfect. Okay. Click on that. Background remover. Now, Sydney's got a really great background. My background is pretty decent too, but let's say that I wanted to just not even have that background. My background is a little bit busier, I think, than Sydney's, so we'll just do that. With this, though, we can do background remover on this. And that is a terrible, terrible example. Yeah, we'd probably want to get a different screenshot. So please don't judge that action based on that. Let's go ahead and do this Better Country one. Let's see how this does. Background remover. Okay, that turned out a little bit better. So yeah, as you can see, we can kind of do something like that. And then you can put, she's got her email address and she's got those same socials. So what you can do with the socials and the email is you can come up here and then you can grab this and it's already grouped. So you could duplicate it and then just drag it down. Something else you can do is you can click on that. And then you can do, if you're on a Mac, Command C or Control C, and that'll copy it. Come down here, click down in this last box and do Command V as in Victor or Control V, like your quick code for pasting. Now you've got that here. So let's get rid of this. Let's do some text. Let's go. Caleb, let's go. Creates at gmail.com. Wonderful. And then I can click on my little menu, my ellipsis right here, and then come down into link and I can put a link on there. And then I'm just going to center that there. Okay, now one of our last steps is we are going to add in that background. So I had that apple background. So I'm going to come back to my elements. I'm going to put apples or apple. Let's go into our photos, see all, perfect. I'm going to click on our apples right here. And it doesn't need to be completely lined up very nice. And I may have just lost it, so let's do that. Okay, so we've got our apples right here. What we want to do is we want to send this to the back. It's right now it's kind of over the top of this, actually. We'll bring that up. There we go. Sometimes it'll be, if you don't bring it all the way up into the into this page right here, it might seem like it's kind of hidden. Okay, so now that we've got this, great, I'm going to click on my ellipsis right there. I am going to move it to the back, to the very back, so send to the back. Perfect. And I'm going to kind of put it like that. And then, and I'll have to do this on each page. So, and actually, no, well, okay, I'll show you what we're going to do. Okay, so even though this looks awesome, what we're going to do is we are going to go to transparency. And I can't remember what the number was that we liked, but let's go to 25. Great. So now that I have that figured out, what I'm going to do is click back on here, get rid of that transparency tool. And now I am going to try to get back to getting that. Let's click outside, deselect it, then we're going to reselect it. Okay. And then down here at the bottom, we've got our ellipsis. It was at the top. Now it's at the bottom because our tools are kind of covering that option. So I'm going to click on that. And now what I'm going to do is I am going to, oh, I didn't even need to do that. Sorry, my brain's all over the place. I'm going to click on duplicate. So now I've got a copy of that. And now I'm just going to drag that. I'm going to drag it down here, put it here. Okay, maybe. There we go. So I couldn't really do it exactly the same, but yeah, that works. If I do that, can I line this up? And if you're a perfectionist about this and you don't necessarily want it to have like a really drastic break to it, you can play around with the sizing. But anyways, okay, let's go ahead and duplicate that again. Let's bring it down. Perfect. Not perfect. Let's do an undo, Command Z, Control Z. Let's bring it down. Okay, let's try that again. There we go. Oh, that looks great. Let's duplicate that again. And this looks so good. Okay, let's bring it down a little bit more. Nope. There we go. Sometimes you got to play around with it to get it to show up. Let's duplicate that again. There we go. Put there. Okay. So as you can see, even though it's transparent, it's kind of covering this. So with each one of these, we are going to select it, and we're going to click on our ellipsis, layer it. We're going to send it to the back. There we go. So if it seems kind of grayed out, that's because we just need to layer that. A quicker way, instead of clicking on that ellipsis and kind of what I just did, and I do that by default because it's just quicker, is you can actually hold down Control and then do a click. If you're using a mouse, you can actually just right click straight on there and then go to layer. It's going to do exactly, oh, that's because we need to select this. Okay, perfect. Layer, send to the back. Awesome. Looking wonderful. Love it so much. Thank you very much. And we'll see you in the next tutorial. And there you have it. So that's the quick version. Um, if you like this, if you want to know more, put something in the comments like, hey, show us how to do that color picker. Show us how you did this. What about that? What about this? What about that? Yeah, you guys tell me what you want. Um, so tell me what you want, what you really, really want. Let's throw some Spice Girl lyrics in there. And yeah, hope you enjoyed it. If you enjoyed it, like it, follow me. This is my first video on this new, not ever, my first YouTube video on this new UGC Caleb Sco Creates YouTube channel. So hopefully you enjoyed it. Give me a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, you know what? Give me some feedback and then also give me a thumbs up. That would be great. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Good luck. Have fun. And I hope your portfolio just looks bomb AF.